Smart Moves features renowned real estate guru Ozzie Jurock, described by Bill Good as one of Canada's foremost real estate analysts. Peter C. Newman recommends him as a one Canadian analyst who has the knack of making sense of what's happening and, more importantly, what's about to happen. Ozzie's common sense approach gives you the essential information you need to make smart moves and smart money.
Hi, I'm Ozzie Jurock, and welcome to Smart Moves, the show that's going to make you a smart participant in today's wild and woolly real estate market. So is it over? Is the market finished? Well, here at Smart Moves, we're going to give you tips about the upcoming markets, what to buy, but more important, what not to buy and where not to buy. And the smartest tip of all I can give you is, who are you? Ask yourself, what is it that you want? Cash flow or a quick flip? Are you a flipper or an investor? Well, here today, we're going to start out by talking about how to maximize the value of the property when you sell, how to get the best price possible in the shortest period of time with a minimum of inconvenience. And to do that, the second smart tip is how to hire a realtor, a professional realtor, somebody that cares about his profession, that practices his profession, his or her profession, and not practices on you. We said the most important thing is to hire a professional realtor. Well, here to help us understand how to get a good professional realtor, we have with us in the studio Ralph Case. Ralph is the president of Worldwide Referrals.com, who has a lot of experience in the business. Tell us a little bit about your background.
My background is as a realtor. I've been in the business for almost 20 years. I started at the bottom, moved to a city where I didn't know anyone, knocked on doors, worked my way up through the residential real estate ranks, and then I ended up being regional director of a company with $100 million in annual sales doing investment real estate.
So you understand the importance of having a good realtor represent you.
Yeah, I've been involved in thousands of transactions, and my sort of operating mantra throughout my career was that it's easier to keep a client happy and have them buy from me again rather than always look for new clients.
Well, and that's really what every realtor should do, you know.
Exactly.
Well, why should you have a realtor in the first place? Why don't I just sell it myself?
Well, there are three main reasons, Ozzie, and the first one is exposure. You know, you have to get your house out to the general public. The more exposure it gets, the bigger the price is that you'll achieve when you sell it. The second one is a little bit of objectivity. Whenever I sell a property, I always use a realtor that's not myself. I'm a licensed realtor, but I always use a different realtor because they have the objectivity to tell me what's right or wrong with the house.
Sure.
And the third one is that they can sell the buyer. A buyer needs to be sold. And if you have a realtor on the spot and the buyer is wavering, they will reassure them. They'll say, I'm an expert on the market. This is a good buy. Buy it. And often people need that little nudge just to make the transaction complete.
But in today's market, you also have a realtor that specializes on the seller and is a seller representative, and you also have somebody that specializes on the buyer. How does that work?
Well, Worldwide Referrals was set up so that we could match up the general public with a specialist. And you're right, there are specialists that are for buyers and there's specialists for sellers. And typically, the selling realtor specializes in staging a house, in pricing it accurately, getting the most exposure and the highest price. The buyer's realtor works more for the sharks. They want to find the best deal out there that might not be the most exposed, and they have to be an expert on what prices are so that if there's a great deal, they say snap it up, and you listen to them because they're the expert.
So I think it's a good thing to, when I want to sell my house, to hire a realtor that represents me, and when I buy, maybe have a different realtor to represent me. We have different objectives. Tell me, Worldwide Referrals, can any realtor just list their property there or to list themselves there?
No, we work strictly on the idea that it has to be a qualified realtor. One of the big things is ethics. They have to treat the client honorably. The next one is years in the business. We want experienced realtors. We don't want them practicing on the clients. And, you know, we want results. We want quick responses. If they don't answer the phone calls, they're off our list.
Yeah, and I think that's very important. So they can't just pay you money to be named there. So if anybody from the general public goes to worldwide.com, they can be assured that the realtor has to do certain things, right? As a listing realtor, he has to create a market evaluation for the property, for instance?
Yeah, the most important one is an accurate price. We want realtors that are competent in coming up with an accurate price, because that's 85% of the marketing, is get a good price on the property. The next one is a plan of action. We want them to have a specific
What are you
plan
going
of
to do
action.
for me? How are you going to do that?
Yeah.
Where are you going to advertise?
Exactly. And then the third one is feedback. We want them to tell the client when they're going to be calling them, to report on how they're doing.
That is so important. I know so many situations where you never see the realtor for 2 months, let's say in a soft market. They should really call you every single day, every single week at least. You know? I used to say to the realtor, can you call me every Tuesday night and tell me when the house is shown or what the reaction is from other realtors and so on.
That's right. And these days with email, I mean, it's easy for them to sit down at night and just email their clients and
this
say,
is what
give
happened.
them an update.
That's
maybe every
response.
2 or 3 days.
Sure, absolutely. The same on Worldwide, you also offer the service for a seller's realtor as well as a buyer's realtor?
Yes, sellers realtors and buyers realtors, and there's no cost to the general public. We only get paid if the transaction goes through and the realtor pays us a referral.
I think it's very, very important that we match a realtor to also a little bit to our personality. Sometimes we need a realtor to tell us we are too high in price. Maybe not in this market, but generally we have to have a professional that understands that our goals are.
Yeah, and there's a whole spectrum of personality types. You might have a shark killer realtor that's very aggressive, and you don't want to refer him to your grandmother that wants someone that's gentle and
Yes.
you know will be nice to her and treat her the way she wants to be treated. So we definitely look into the personality aspect when we're matching people up.
Well, I think the important thing is, let's say I want to move to Prince George. You have realtors there, or Vancouver
Yes.
Island, you have realtors there,
Yeah.
so anybody can go to...
Any small town in BC, people can go to worldwidereferrals.com, click on, I want a realtor, and then we'll do the rest.
And you're not company specific. You could
No.
be with any company. The key is the person there makes a commitment to the seller. I will give a market evaluation, and to the buyer, I will write an offer.
That's right. Yeah, different markets have different companies that dominate. So it's always good to have, a dominant real estate company in a particular market, but it's not always the same company. On Vancouver Island versus, say, Kamloops or Kelowna, totally different.
Sure. So in your experience, the importance of the realtor gets you the best possible price if you pick the right realtor.
Exactly. I have been a realtor for close to 20 years. I've never sold a property privately. I've always used a realtor. I've always paid them gladly because it's maximum exposure, accurate price, and, pushing the buyer to buy it. Whereas it's my house, it's hard for me to give them that final nudge to say, yes, it's a good deal, because I'm self-serving.
Makes a lot of sense, Ralph. Thank you for coming in and joining us and giving us those tips.
My pleasure.
Well, that is a realtor's tip. This is how to get the best realtor. Well, some of other tips that you might consider to sell your home faster is create a sheet of features. You know your house the best, better than anybody else. Make sure that you maybe create a box and hang it over the sign of the realtor and put all those feature sheets in there, because buyers drive around, they like to pick it up. And most important, understand that 85% of all deals are local in nature. So in other words, make sure that that feature sheet is brought out by the realtor to all the other realtors in the area, because likely one of those cooperating realtors will sell it.